the Evergreen Media Network Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Treasure Coast Connector, connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. Treasure Coast Connector is the talk show and online community where we put a spotlight on interesting local businesses and resources, then connect them to you, the consumers in the community. Everyone has an interesting story of why they do what they do. When we learn about what's happening in our own backyard and support local businesses, it strengthens the local economy. For details on the show, links to discounts, promos, past interviews, check out www.tcconnector.com. So consistent cash flow is important for any business, and sometimes a company needs an infusion of extra funds to continue to grow. Joining me in the studio today is Esta Crompton, and she is Crompton. Esta Crompton. See, Esta? And we're going to talk about that in a moment. Now it's all going to be good from here.
Yeah.
She is the founder of EJN Financial. She's here with lots of great information. We're going to talk about business loans, lines of credit, equipment financing, invoice factoring, and so much more. Welcome to the show, Esta.
Hi, Ellen. Thank you for having me here.
Yes.
Excited to be here.
I know you're excited, and I'm glad you're here. And you did say that you felt, because you haven't been in this studio before, so you're like, oh, I don't know what to expect. But since I flubbed your name, Esta Crompton, I got it right now. Now we're set for the rest of the show.
We are.
You see?
We
Okay.
are.
And before we talk about all of the services that you provide, because you've been in financial services for a while, you love doing what you do, but why did you want to get involved with business financing?
In 2020, I started buying and selling on Amazon, and I had a Shopify store, and I got so taken by people with the marketing, the PPC with Amazon.
Yeah, the paper
shipping,
clip.
the paper clip. I went through so much, hundreds and thousands of dollars. And I just wish I knew the right team and the right way to get money. And that's what really got me involved. You know, I don't want to see anyone go through what I went through.
I love that. So you are not the first person in over 5 years that I've been doing this show where their businesses were started because they needed help, they made some mistakes, they got educated, and now they're like, that's it. Now I know what I want to do going forward. So I love that. So now a lot goes into deciding on a business loan. When a business owner is thinking about expanding or whatever the reason is for the loan, a lot goes into that, and there's a lot to consider. So what advice do you have before someone even picks up the phone? What should they do before they call you?
I would encourage anyone to call me because every business is different. You know, maybe we have to plan. Maybe their credit needs to be fixed before they start. You know, maybe they need a couple of more months of bank statements. There's so many things that I could guide them through of what they need to do.
Yeah, I do. I love that. And then of course, you know, you are very conversational. You're very consultative. So when someone calls you at that point, you know, there's still a lot of questions. Like you really get down into and really want to help them. So you want to understand the back situation so that they can move forward too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Now, let's talk about the types of financing available, because there is a laundry list. And, you know, some loans, you know, are naturally like somebody will say, this is like the perfect fit for me. And other people aren't really quite sure which way they should go. So what types of financing options are there?
There's SBA, the SBA Express, the SBA 7A. There's business lines of credit, invoice factoring,
Mhm.
equipment loans,
Yeah.
startup loans. That's why I say it's important for someone to call me just so I could
Mhm.
guide them in the right way.
Yeah, and that's true. And then for some people, of course, when someone has been in business for a long time, they have that track record, right?
Right.
And they have the clients, the revenue. They have a good credit score personally. Their business, they're paying their bills on time. On paper, that's like easy. That's like a great scenario to be in, a great situation to be in. And for those businesses, there are times where an infusion of capital is necessary if they want to expand their business and grow. So, with that, when someone has that situation, what are some of the financing options that are good in that situation?
In that situation, a term loan, a line of credit,
Mm-hmm.
I would need their 4 months bank statements to
Okay.
determine that.
Okay. So
Or
now,
even an SBA loan too.
yeah, I was just going to say SBA loans because they're basically putting up their house as collateral. Is that what that is?
No,
No.
the Express is up to 500,000.
Okay.
And that's for, people who need equipment financing or have to refinance debt that they took, for their business, like a merchant capital advance loan.
Okay.
So that's designed for that. The SBA 7A is for real estate and businesses.
Oh, okay. Okay. So now when you say real estate and businesses, like if someone is leasing where they're operating their business out of and they now have the opportunity to buy, is that the type of financing you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now there are situations where maybe they're new in business. Okay, here's a good part B to that question. If someone has started a business, they are a startup.
Mhm.
What do you recommend for them for capital? They go to friends and family, okay, right? And after that, what are some of the other creative ways that financing can happen?
If they have a 700 credit score,
Mm-hmm.
they can do credit card stacking, which is, you get like 3, 4 credit cards at once, and you could get up to 150,000 and a 0% interest for 12 or 18 months. So
Okay.
that's an idea.
So now when you say credit card stacking, so then they might use that card and then before that period is up, if they haven't paid that off, they can just move it to the next card or
No, so you will probably need 4 banks to get 150,000. So you apply all at the same time.
Oh,
So you're going to have the money all at the same time.
oh, I see. I
So
see.
maybe one bank you'll go to TransUnion, another bank you'll go to Equifax.
Mhm.
That way you're only getting one report pulled.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. And now there are times where maybe somebody's, personal credit score isn't so good. That and that does come into play because a lot of times people think, but it's for my business. Why does my personal credit have to be involved?
Because they have to personally guarantee it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
even someone with a low score, if they have revenue,
Mhm.
I could help them.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. What about ways to help them, get their credit? Is there any way to help them over time
Yes.
get their credit score?
I have someone who does credit repair. He's helped me get 13 inquiries removed. And I did that because I was going to move to Vero Beach. I was going to move. I was. And so I had 13 inquiries and he got them removed in
Oh,
30 days. I have another client who's from South Africa
mm-hmm.
and he has no credit. I told him get credit cards. He didn't. But anyhow, I have Daniel helping him
Mm-hmm.
build trade lines. So right now we got a short-term loan for his equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And in about a week, so it took about 5, 6 weeks, he'll have trade lines and he'll have a credit score. So I know someone who could repair credit.
That's very nice. And that's true because you were on the West Coast of Florida for quite a while.
30 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And now you're here, in Vero Beach. But that is interesting that, when you're looking for a place to live, and they're running your credit and this and that. So you had all of those inquiries. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that could be problematic. So now, okay, so we talked about the startups. But now what if somebody is in business for a few years? Okay. Explain to me about this invoice factoring, because I've heard about it before, but as you can tell by these questions, I am a complete novice because of the work that I do. I haven't needed loans, but there are plenty of companies, that have inventory. They have, a clothing store, or they're running a bakery, and they need that kind of stuff. So what is invoice factoring?
So if someone's waiting on invoice, for their customer to pay them, and they have to wait 60 to 90 days, they can get invoice factoring up to 75%.
Okay. And so now
in 48 hours.
Okay, so in 48 hours they can have that money, and then what is like the turnaround time? How do they pay that back?
Well, they'll pay it back, when they get their money.
Okay, all right. So these are very short-term loans and things like that. So when your customers, when your clients are using these types of loans, does that help them kind of leapfrog into better financing arrangements because they've, had these other types of loans that they've successfully paid back? Does that look good in the eyes of?
Yeah, because it reports their business credit. Mm-hmm. So it does look good. Mm-hmm. But it's also helping them get money quicker so they could do other things.
Right, exactly. And so your lending sources, you have, companies like all over the place, all different types of lending sources.
Yes.
Really? Cindy, this goes by way too fast. Cindy is telling me to take a break, believe it or not. So what we're going to do is immediately after the break, though, I want people to have your contact information because I like to do that twice usually. But we're going to be right back. Esta Crompton of EJN Financial. We have a lot more to discuss. Stay tuned.
Host your very own show every week at Evergreen Media Network in Vero Beach. Go live to YouTube and Facebook with up to 4 people and your very own producer. Be heard on more than 15 podcast platforms and local radio. All you have to do is show up and talk. Your guests can join from anywhere in the world. It's easy to get started with the largest podcast studio on the Treasure Coast. Contact Evergreen Media to tour the studio.
Sunshine Furniture.
If you dream of creating a home with furniture where you make life one long weekend, visit Sunshine Furniture now and save 50% on all Tommy Bahama and Lexington furniture during the Fall Home event. Bedroom, living, and dining room, home office, media, and occasional furniture that is inviting and comfortable, Tommy Bahama and Lexington offer everything you need to furnish your floor at home. The Fall Home event ends September 30th, so come in now. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com and buy local.
Sunshine Furniture brightens up your day. Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day. Sunshine Furniture. Stop on in today and have a...
It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I've been chatting with Esta Crompton of EJN Financial, helping businesses get the financing they need to grow and succeed. And we were having such a great conversation, Esta, that I forgot to ask in the first half, how do people get in touch with you? The people that watch this see the graphic, but the iHeart radio and podcast people, they don't know how to get in touch with you. What is your phone number, your website?
Okay, my phone number is 727-481-4337. My website is EJNfinancial.com. And my email is esta@ejnfinancial.com.
Okay, perfect. All right. So now we were talking about the different types of loans. And you know what? If someone doesn't have the most perfect credit, they should still call you anyway. You know, that you're able to help people with all sorts of situations. So I kind of wanted to re-emphasize that. And then during the commercial break, we wanted to make sure that we spoke about the real estate aspect. So what did you want to talk about with the real estate?
I've had a couple of people, one person, he owned, he was renting a construction company.
Mm-hmm.
And he owned the construction company.
Yeah, he was renting the space.
He was renting the space and he wanted to buy it. He was there 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I helped him do was purchase that. And because he had things going on with his credit, I was able to do that with a cross collateralization with his primary residence and another rental property.
Wow.
And he got that, he was there 11 years and now he owns it.
That's wonderful. And I think that that's something that a lot of business owners should think about, especially when they've been in business for a while and they're leasing or renting their space, is real estate, residential, commercial. It's such an asset.
It is. They should ask their landlord. And I helped someone else who has a car lot in Tampa. And they did the same thing, renting 11 years. And then they bought it, cross-collateralizing their primary.
Yeah.
I have a private investor that will do that.
That's wonderful. And that's the other thing is you have a team of people behind you, you know, and that's a really wonderful thing. So I'm just looking at the time. We're good with time. We have another 65 minutes. Just kidding. We don't have that much time. I wish we did. Okay. Because there is a lot to talk about. But one other thing is I want people to know that unfortunately a lot of industries will have bad actors. Like I mentioned before, used car salespeople. There are some good ones out there. And then there's some that are selling lemons, And then, you hear about the credit card processing. There's good companies out there, not so good. Same thing with business financing, because there's a lot of emotion that goes into it. People, their business is their baby, and they want more than anything to succeed. So I just want people to understand, what are some of the red flags that a business owner should pop up when they hear somebody say something to them when they're interviewing different companies to work with?
Well, the people who are really pushy, who continue to call you and call you and call you, I wouldn't deal with them. Okay. And even if you feel comfortable, have an attorney review something, just give someone a couple $100, have them review it. Don't let anyone push you.
Right.
They could wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I always say, because women, we possess a superpower, don't we, Cindy?
Right.
The superpower of intuition, know? So if something just doesn't feel right, then have a third party eyeball the contract. So that's a great piece of advice. Now, walk us through the process of what it's like to work with you. We're on the Treasure Coast of Florida. So I want all the business owners of Treasure Coast to call you. Okay. Start calling Esta right away. Okay. I've already told them what to do, but all kidding aside, you work with businesses all over the country, not just here on the Treasure Coast, right?
For real estate, I do all U.S. and other countries.
Oh, wow.
And so the other countries could get foreign national loans in real estate. For the businesses, I will do another country, but they have to have a business in the U.S.
Okay.
So I help people everywhere.
That's wonderful. And it starts with a phone call, right? Yeah. So walk us through that process of what it's like, to work with you. What can somebody expect when they call you?
Well, it's a good experience. I'm really service oriented. And, I'll ask them to tell me about them, what they've been doing, what their goals are, where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, once that conversation starts, I'll know where else to go. But, just to guide them in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good experience.
Good. That's wonderful. And that's the other thing is that you've had people continually come back to you for help.
My children. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, children and clients and things like that.
My children and, loans. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My family.
Yep. Well, very good. And then we still have a little bit of time left, but I do want you to repeat your contact information one more time, please.
Okay. My phone number is 727-481-4337. My email is esta@ejnfinancial.com. And my website is EJNfinancial.com.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. And now I'm going to ask you another question because I have all of my questions here. But before we wrap up, is there something that you wanted to touch on or rephrase or repeat again before we, sign off?
No, I just love helping people, whether it's for their business or their real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I do fix and flips and new construction, so I do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Could close a fix and flip in 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
No income verification.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And then there was a laundromat you had mentioned to me.
Right. So someone who just came here from South Africa, he bought a laundromat in Staten Island, and he needed $80,000 for equipment. And he didn't have the credit score.
Mm-hmm.
He had no credit score. And I got him $80,000 in 7 days. It was a merchant cash advance. But before we did that,
Mm-hmm.
I had him work with someone who's going to build trade lines. So in 2 months, I could refinance him out of that $80,000.
Wow. Okay. Very good. Very good. So so sometimes somebody could have their loan structured one way, and then as things are more advantageous, then you can kind of pivot and help them get into something different. Yeah, I really like that. What else do you want to say about the SBA loans? What would you like people to know about the SBA loans?
I mean, they're good loans. They do take 60 to 90 days.
Okay.
So that's important.
Mm-hmm.
There are other like if they're in a contract or they have to do something quickly,
Mm-hmm.
there's alternatives to do waiting on that.
Okay. So when someone hears, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that window of time, then there's other things you can do,
Right.
Before that.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's always like a short-term loan.
Yeah, I like that. There's always a workaround.
There is.
I like that.
There is.
That's a really good thing, especially for business people. And we have like 1 minute left, so I'm going to sign off in just a few moments. But I really, you have made a nice splash so far with the Vero Beach Chamber of Commerce, and then when you went to Treasure Coast Business Connections. So I really do. I want people, I love this show because it's about answers. It's about solutions. And you know what I mean? So I want people to understand that if they feel like, oh, I don't know about my options, I don't feel like I have them, they do. And I want them to call you. And with that said, I want to say thank you so very much, for being on the show. A lot of great information. And for everyone that's listening and watching, okay, we're getting close to the end of the year already. We're filming this at the very end of August, and people are putting their plans for the following calendar year. So get in touch with Esta before you put those plans into action for 2025. My name is Ellen Contreras, host of Treasure Coast Connector. I hope everyone has a safe, productive, wonderful week. And until next week, I miss you already.